I'm Pat Iyer, and I have with me today Teresa Devitt Lynch. Teresa and I have been planning a two-day conference to take place June 9th and 10th, 2022, on the topic of intimate partner violence or domestic violence. This is geared to legal nurse consultants who are interested in building up and expanding their practice to focus on cases where there are criminal charges filed and are interested in learning more about this to most effectively help their attorney clients. Teresa, tell our listener a little bit about why this conference that we're planning together is unique in terms of helping people prepare for the conference.
There's a lot of cases in the criminal court system for which LNCs can be very useful, and a lot of those cases involve injuries or medical issues that can affect the interpretation of injuries or even the formation of injuries during a physical assault. And when you talk about domestic violence, understanding how injuries are formed, different mechanisms of injuries is very important, because physical assault is often one of the center points of a domestic violence situation. So the LNC would need to know, how to properly identify injuries, and then also how to interpret them within the context of the identified mechanism of injury.
And for the person watching this video who doesn't know your background, can you share how you got involved in helping attorneys with criminal cases?
Sure. I did 20 years in the military. I retired in 2017 from the Navy as a nurse. I started doing sexual assault exams in 2011 in the military. From there, the rest of my military career was spent in education and training. That's my master's background is in education and training, but then also managing different sexual assault forensic examination programs for different military healthcare facilities. And with that, I started to get involved into military court martials, and specifically with sexual assault. And I would serve as a consultant for the sexual assault examinations, interpreting injuries there, and assisting the attorneys in trial strategy and the other aspects of the court martial. And then when I retired, I just shifted those skills into and started to incorporate civilian cases into my practice. So now I do legal nurse consulting work for all types of criminal cases, not just sexual assault, but sexual assault, strangulation, domestic violence, physical assault. I mean, there's a wide variety of cases, like I mentioned earlier, that an LNC can be involved in.
And then in order to help people prepare for the conference, what are you putting together to make their learning even deeper when it comes to evaluating domestic violence cases?
So during the conference, we have three lectures that are based on injuries. We've got the closed head injury, we've got orthopedic injuries, and strangulation. And understanding the basic concepts of mechanism of injury, injury formation, other elements of a person's health and well-being, and skin factors that affect or can influence the formation of injury in response to a specific force applied to the body is very important. So what we're going to do here, instead of spending the conference time kind of getting that background information and that foundation of injury identification and interpretation, we'll have information for them ahead of time on different types of injuries, blunt force injuries, sharp injuries, spend a little time discussing bruising or contusions. That way, that information can be directly applied to the topics that we'll be discussing at the conference: the strangulation, the closed head injury, and the orthopedic injuries. And we can use the foundational information that they will learn about ahead of time and actually apply that at the conference. So it'll save some time at the conference and let them actually use that information, put it to work right away.
I'm all in favor of putting learning to work right away, because that gives the application to go with all the theory, and it stays locked in and embedded much better that way.
Yes, I agree. I think having this information ahead of time just makes better use of our time during the conference.
And the link to get information about this program is lnc.tips/DV for domestic violence, lnc.tips/DV. If you are hearing this audio after the conference is over, we will have it available for you in a recorded format. I encourage you to put those dates of June 9th and 10th, 2022 on your calendar so you can join us live, participate in the learning, network with your fellow LNCs, and learn how to provide this type of case consulting to your existing LNC practice. There's a lot of work in this field, unfortunately. Violence against women is a factor that affects the safety and health of women in all strata, all educational levels, all economic levels, and much of it goes on behind closed doors. As a legal nurse consultant, you can help the attorneys who are handling these cases, and both the prosecutor and the defense need the assistance of a knowledgeable legal nurse consultant. So join us and ramp up your skills. lnc.tips/DV. We'll see you there.